Okay.
Good evening. Good evening. I'd like to call tonight's meeting of the Gateway Board of School Directors reorganizational meeting for Tuesday, December 7th, 2021. Could we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Let's pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, at this time, we are going to have the election of a temporary president. The temporary president shall be elected from among the holdover members. Holdover members are the members whose terms are not expiring or beginning, the new persons who were not just elected or re-elected. The holdover members are Mr. Bova, Mrs. Cerrucci, Mrs. Delaney, Mr. Ritter, and myself. Nominations will be accepted for temporary president.
I nominate John Ritter, unless, Val, you actually want to do it remotely, which would be fine with me.
You know what, John, if you are okay, that's fine with me.
Sure, I'd be happy to do it.
Okay,
Thanks. John.
motion to close nominations.
Second.
Roll call, Bonnie.
Roll call. Okay, Mr. Bova,
Yes.
Mrs. Cerrucci,
Yes.
Mrs. Delaney,
Yes.
Mrs. McBride,
Yes.
Ms. Mungo,
Yes.
Dr. Singh,
Yes.
Mr. Ritter,
Yes.
Mrs. Warning.
Yes.
Motion carries, Mr. Ritter's temporary president.
The gavel passes to me. Welcome. And next we have the seating of the board members. So Judge Herbst, if you would take the microphone, please just tap on it once or twice, make sure it's live. So you'll read the certificates and then you'll administer the oaths.
I don't have a certificate.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
So Bonnie,
We, the undersigned constituting the return board of the County of Allegheny County, do hereby certify that at the election held on the second day of November 2021, Leslie McBride was duly elected to the office of School Director of Gateway School District in the County of Allegheny, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Witness our hands and seal on this 22nd day of November 2021. We, the undersigned, constituting the return board of the County of Allegheny do hereby certify at the election held on the second day of November 2021, Robin M. Mongo was duly elected to the office of School Director of Gateway School District in the County of Allegheny, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Witness our hands and seal on the 22nd day of November 2021. We, the undersigned, constituting the return board of the County of Allegheny, do hereby certify at the election held on the second day of November 2021, Mandel K. Singh was duly elected to the office of School Director, Gateway School District in the County of Allegheny, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Witness our hands and seal on this 22nd day of November 2021.
Okay, it's time to administer the oath. Why don't the three of you stand and raise your right hands, and Jeff, you can swear them in a group.
Yes.
Just have them repeat after you.
You raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I state your name. Solemnly swear or affirm that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support and obey
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth.
and I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity.
And I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity.
Congratulations. Date and sign.
Okay.
And then I'll certify.
So welcome to the new school board members. There's one item of interest that I think we need to talk about. Jim LeMayo was also elected and his seat is vacant. So Mr. Dice, if you could give us the process for filling that seat, please?
Yes, it's set out in the Pennsylvania School Code when a vacancy is created at the reorganization, when an individual fails to get sworn in, take office. The statute indicates that you have to wait 10 days. So there's a window whereby he could come in and accept the oath of office and take his seat. So that 10 days will begin to run tomorrow, not today. So December 8th will be the beginning of the 10th day, 10 days. That takes us out to
17th,
the 18th,
18th.
which is a Saturday. So realistically, you're looking at probably the 20th, which is a Monday, which would be the first time you could take some action. The statute says that if the candidate does not get sworn in or doesn't take office within that 10-day period, you can declare his office vacant. And that's the action that will be taken on the 20th in the event Mr. LeMayo exercises his right not to be sworn in. Anybody have any questions about that? So we're out to the 20th.
So the 30 days from the 20th is the window to appoint.
Once the office is declared vacant, the regular statute comes into play about you filling vacancies, and we've done this on several occasions. You have 30 days then from the 18th, if that's the date you were to use to meet and declare his office vacant. You have 30 days to fill that vacancy. So that takes you out into January. And you don't count the 18th, you start counting on the 19th.
All right, so Dr. Short, just for a point of information, was Jim LeMayo's desire conveyed via some sort of an official letter, or was it a conversation that he had with you?
I did receive a letter from Mr. LeMayo. However, at this point in time, it remains confidential as to the reasons why.
Very good.
At this point in time, he does have 10 days if he does choose to come in and take the oath.
Very good. Thank you. Any questions for anybody else on the board? Very good. So we're going to move into the next piece here. This is the nominating committee for the election of the president, and Jack Bova, Susan Delaney, and John Ritter are on the committee, and Jack was elected the leader of that. So Jack, if you would read the rules by which we're going to elect the president.
I will do that. And just to be clear, this committee was appointed by the outgoing president, Brian Gottman. That's his duty. So what we're going to do is be voting on president first. And we have already received, I believe, nominations, but additional nominations for officers will be taken from the floor and added to the ballot. Election of the officer shall be by a majority of those present and voting. Where no such majority is achieved on the first ballot, the second ballot shall be cast for the two candidates who receive the greatest number of votes. The board secretary will read the results in public, including how each board member voted. The gavel will then be passed to the new president.
Very good. So Jack, could you report the list of entries, nominations for president?
So we have two nominees presented for president, Mr. Bova and Mr. Ritter. Oh, I got you. Sorry, my bad. John.
Mrs. Sarucci.
Gotcha. Yep.
So we have two, Mr. Ritter, Mr. Bova. Any other nominations from the floor, please? Very good. I suppose we're ready to vote now. Mark your paper, turn it into Bonnie, please.
That's perfect.
Mrs. Warning, you're online, you're on the Zoom meeting, so you will find a way to convey your vote to Bonnie, all right?
I just texted to her.
Very good. We'll give Bonnie a chance to count.
Mr. Ritter, see if Mrs. Isha has her phone and she could check.
We have it right now.
Okay, thank you.
I have Mrs. Warning's vote.
She has your vote now.
Thank you.
Because I have, okay. The seat of president, Mrs. McBride voted for Mr. Bova. Seat of president, Ms. Mongo voted for Mr. Bova. Dr. Singh voted for Mr. Bova. Mrs. Delaney voted for Mr. Bova. Mrs. Cerrucci voted for Mr. Bova. Mr. Bova voted for Mr. Bova. And Mrs. Warning, Mr. Ritter voted for Mr. Ritter. And Mrs. Warning voted for Mr. Ritter.
Very good. So clear majority, Jack.
The majority goes to Mr. Bova.
Congratulations, Mr. Bova.
Congratulations.
Thank you all. Thank you, John. All right, no need for any. Did somebody say something? All right, we're going to move on to the election of vice president. And once again, the process is the same as it was for president. John, if you would read the nominations and the process for vice president one more time.
So additional nominations for officers can be taken from the floor and added to the ballot. The election of the officer shall be by a majority vote of those present and voting. Where no such majority is achieved on the first ballot, a second ballot shall be cast for the first two candidates who receive the greatest number of votes. The board secretary will read the results in public, including how each board member voted.
Very good. And Ms. Isha, you'll just those ballots
I have the
again.
ballots again.
Well, we have Mr. Bova, Mr. Ritter nominated already. Are there any other nominations for the seat of vice president?
We have
We have Mrs. Warning.
So we're adding Mr. Ritter to the,
And yeah, I thought you were already nominated.
Yeah, and Leslie also nominated me.
Very good.
So Mr. Ritter's in there as well. So we have three.
You know what? I would like to take my name off the ballot, please.
and we have Mr. Ritter.
I would like to submit one more, if I may. I'd like to submit Mrs. Cerrucci.
Any others?
Any other nominees, please? That's it. All right, then. Again, fill out your ballot.
One more? Two more?
Vice President, Mrs. McBride voted for Mr. Ritter. Ms. Mongo voted for Ms. Cerrucci. Dr. Singh voted for Mr. Ritter. Mrs. Delaney voted for Mr. Ritter. Mrs. Cerrucci voted for Mrs. Cerrucci. Mr. Ritter voted for Mr. Ritter. Mr. Bova voted for Mrs. Cerrucci, and Mrs. Warning voted for Mr. Ritter.
Congratulations, Mr. Ritter.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, everybody. Let's move on to,
Well, we must close this portion of the meeting and perform the Pledge of Allegiance to open the next meeting.
We do have two items to vote on. We have the school board meeting calendar
Right.
and the solicitor.
Oh,
which I
okay.
was getting to, yep. So, section 7 is the schedule. See, okay? Congratulations, nice work. All right.
We just want to see how many more guns we can buy.
You take number 7.
You're on.
All right, so section 7 is resolved that the Gateway Board of School Directors sets the calendar of school board meetings for 2022 as attached and authorizes the secretary to advertise said meetings in accordance with the Sunshine Law. And that's in Exhibit A. Second. Moved and seconded. Do all these roll call or-
I do.
These don't have to be roll call.
You don't, you do all in favor.
Anything when you're spending money, roll call. We're creating liability.
No roll call.
Okay, so that's been resolved and it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? First bang.
Aye.
Nice job. Number 8, let's move on to the appointment of the solicitor. Resolved that the Gateway Board of School Directors reappoint Bruce Dice and Associates PC as solicitor under the current terms and conditions agreed upon.
So moved.
Second.
That 2 has been moved and seconded. All
Robin is second.
in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Congratulations, Mr. Dice.
Appreciate that.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Right, let's get to it. So I'd like to call the order.
Slow down.
Oh, sorry. My bad. My bad. Take your time, take a breath.
I'm ready.
Nothing happens in this district, so you're ready.
That's right. Somebody thinks that. Thank you very much. Okay, I'm ready.
All right, I'd like to call this meeting to order. This is the Gateway Board of School Directors, regular board meeting, Tuesday, December 7th, 2021. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So roll call, please.
Mr. Boba,
Here.
Mrs. Cerrucci,
Here.
Mrs. Delaney,
Here.
Mrs. McBride. Here. Ms. Mungo,
Here.
Dr. Singh,
Yeah.
Mr. Ritter,
Here.
and Mrs. Warning.
Here.
Thank you. You know, the first item is comments from residents on agenda items, but if we would like to take just a quick moment, I think everyone recognizes this date. Before we rush into our business, let's not forget what happened on this date.
1941.
80 years ago, yes? No, 1941.
Yeah, this 80.
80 years ago. So
Mhm.
unless anyone has anything in particular to say, a moment of silence, I think would be appropriate. And then we can get on with the business at hand. Thanks. Thank you. So do we have comments from residents on agenda items?
Let me check to see. We do have one person that called in advance, but it's in a non-agenda item, so we'll speak at the end.
Okay. We're not helping Bonnie here much, are we?
Let's give it the. This is, they're both going to be, I believe, at the end.
Right, so, and these are kind of vague, and both, I think, would be done at the end of the meeting. So if everyone can be patient, we'll get to these two at the end of the meeting. So let's move on to section A, minutes of the previous meetings. Resolved that the Gateway Board of School Directors approves the minutes of the following previously held meetings.
So moved.
Second. That motion has been made and seconded. Any questions?
We could do a voice vote on this as well. We usually do a voice.
If you'd like to,
All in favor?
that's fine with me. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next, we're going to move on to section D, which is the personnel agenda. Is that particular?
Thank you, Mr. Bova. Recommended that the Gateway Board of School Directors accepts and approves the personnel agenda items 1 through 7 as listed in section D for the regular board meeting of Tuesday, December 7th, 2021. Under resignations, we are submitting 3 names. We would also like to congratulate Pat Leonard on her retirement and thank her for her many years of service with the district. Under section 2, we present 2 leaves of absence. Section 3, we are recommending 1 transfer. Under section 4 for employment, we have 5 names listed. Under item number A, this is going to be that Lindsay Oliver be approved as a level 6 secretary at Moss Side Middle School. We also have Tim Whalen, we're recommending as a custodian. 2 paraprofessionals, Judy Bryant and Bryce Junkin, and Amy White as a semester teacher at the high school. We're also seeking approval for 6, event workers, 3 additional after-school tutors, approval for a substitute food service worker, and approval for Ethan Gimes at the minimum rate of $7.25 as a student worker. Under supplemental contracts, we are presenting the spring supplementals. There are 18 listed. We still have a few outstanding that will be in the next agenda. Under 6, we have a volunteer coach, and under 7, we are requesting the approval and the authorization to create a floating custodial position, which would fall under the Teamsters Collective Bargaining Agreement. This position is currently not budgeted for, but we plan to offset the cost by reducing our overtime.
Thank you, Ms. Crump. Anyone have any questions on any of those?
Motion to approve the personal, don't we do a motion to approve before discussion?
I think Mrs. Warning has a question.
Ms. Warning, was that you?
I just wanted to congratulate Trish Leonard. She has been a valuable employee here at Gateway, and she will be really missed. And Trish, thanks for all your services.
Thank you. I second that. Yes. Did I hear then, Ms. Cerucci?
Yes, you should get a
I
motion to
said
approve.
we need a
before
motion to
discussion.
approve and a second before discussion. So I made a motion to approve section D personnel agenda.
Motion has been made and seconded. Are there any questions concerning this section?
Roll call. Mrs. Cerucci,
Aye.
Mrs. Delaney,
Aye.
Mrs. McBride,
Aye.
Ms. Mungo,
Aye.
Dr. Singh,
Aye.
Mr. Ritter,
Aye.
Mrs. Warning,
Aye.
and Mr. Boba.
Aye.
Motion
Thank you very much.
All right, we're going to move on to section F, administrative report.
Mr. Schott?
Thank you, Dr. Short. Section F, resolved that the Gateway Board of School Directors approves and authorizes the following items 1 through 7 as listed in Section F Administrative Report at the regular board meeting of Tuesday, December 7th, 2021, and specifically the items listed below which consists of item number 1, new policies on 30-day public display for those policies listed. I would like to note that these current policies are actually attachments to one of our current policies. And as a result of the process of the district applying for one of the federal ESSER grants, the oversight agency would like to see these listed and depicted separately. So that's the reason why we were separating them from the original resolution and moving forward in this formal format. So again, just wanted to make note of that for everyone. Item number 2 is approve the payment of all applicable district section B1 list of bills by the business manager for the month of December 2021 in accordance with board policy number 616. Please note, the list of bills will be compiled and emailed to the board for review on December 15th, 2021. The board will have until the close of business on December 22nd, 2021 to review the list of bills and ask any questions regarding the payments. The vendor check payments will then be mailed to the vendors on December 23rd, 2021. And just a note for our new board members, this is an action we typically take in December when we have our one meeting. And we also do a pre-approval for bills in June for the month of July, since there are typically no meetings scheduled during the month of July. Item number 3, approve the district's management discussion and analysis, or Mdna, for the 2021 fiscal year as depicted in Exhibit A. Note the Mdna is a required component in the district's audited financial statements. The Mdna will be included in the district's audited financial statements for the 2021 fiscal year. Item number 4, approve the acceptance of the district's June 30th, 2021 audited financial statements, including supplemental information and the single audit report package as prepared by the district's local auditors, Zelmkowski, Axelrod LLC, for the 2021 fiscal year, and authorize release of the applicable statements and reports as required to the federal, state, and other various oversight agencies prior to December 31st, 2021 and the March 31st, 2022 reporting deadlines. Please note, the audited financial statements will be emailed to the board for review as soon as the document is completed by a district's local auditors and prior to formal release by December 31st, 2021 to meet the deadline for the district's bond post-issuance disclosure requirements with the Securities and Exchange Commission. The local auditors will make a formal presentation to the board regarding the results of the audit during one of the scheduled January 2022 board meetings. Item number 5, approve the commitment of $1,200,000 even from the unassigned category of fund balance to the committed category of fund balance in the general fund for the 21-22 fiscal year. Specifically, the $1.2 million is committed for the purpose of paying for the cost of future capital repair and improvement projects that are not being paid for with the construction fund bond proceeds received from the issuance of the 2021 general obligation bonds. Note, the Pennsylvania Department of Education, or PDE, in accordance with 24 PS 6-688, requires school districts for general fund budgets of greater than or equal to $19 million must maintain an unassigned fund balance of less than or equal to 8% of budget expenditures. The above designation will make the district compliant with the PD requirement for the current 21-22 fiscal year. Item number 6, approve the change orders for CM Icon Lob Company, Liacaris Construction Company, and Hunt Valley Environmental LLC in the total net amount of $9,959.79 as depicted below for the various descriptions of works indicated. And note, the board previously authorized and approved the superintendent with the authority on behalf of the district to approve select types of change orders up to $50,000 in costs associated with Gateway Middle School renovation project that are time sensitive and could negatively affect the critical path of the project by adding required time to the established schedule for completion during the regular board meeting held on May 19, 2021. Including the total of the net change orders detailed above, the grand total of net change orders for the Gateway Middle School renovation project is $201,104.23. And finally, item number 7, accept the following district donation received during the 21-22 fiscal year. The donor is Aegea Repair, specifically 1 case of disinfecting wipes for electronic devices and 2 cases of hand sanitizer. Recipient is Mike O'Brown, the district's technology department, and this will be utilized throughout all district school buildings.
Well, thank you, as always, Mr. Schott.
You're welcome, sir.
I hear any,
Motion to approve Section F Administration Report.
thank you. Motion's been made to accept. Do I hear a second?
Second.
That motion's been made and seconded. Does anyone have any questions on this section?
Sure, Paul. Hi, this is John Ritter. The MDNA, the Management Discussion and Analysis document, is always tightly packed with a lot of rich financial related information, and typically you offer a presentation on that. Do you intend to do that, in the upcoming months?
No, I mean, actually, in the past, I haven't done any formal presentation on that. I'm not sure if maybe you're thinking maybe some of my budget presentation that I cover some of the results in regards to fund balance for that. If you would like me to, I think I would like to read I think, in my opinion, the most important paragraph of the MDNA, which I think pretty much tells a lot of information.
If you have that handy, sure.
Yes, I do. And actually, this is on, and it's a little confusing, but because the document is actually numbered to coincide with the to be released audit report. But this is under actually, it depicted as page 8 at the top, but I'll read this paragraph. And basically what it does, it references as far as what the changes are, specifically in this case, the general fund. The district's general fund balance increased by the net amount of $2,774,586. The primary reason for a net increase was due to the receipt of revenues greater than originally anticipated, as well as the expenditures incurred being less than originally anticipated due to the uncertainty associated with budgeting during the middle of the shutdown for the COVID-19 pandemic. Specifically, the general fund not paying various categories of actual expenditures, specifically student transportation services, purchase property services, purchase professional and technical services, and employee salaries and wages, less than the budgeted expenditures. In addition, the effects of these under expenditures were further enhanced by the district receiving actual revenues, specifically comprised of current real estate taxes, current mercantile taxes, current income taxes, and delinquent real estate taxes far greater than the budgeted revenues.
Good news.
Yes, did that answer your question, Mr. Ritter? It wasn't really a question, was it?
Well, I
It's a
just want
request.
Paul to be able to comment because those documents are so tightly packed with dense financial information. To have someone interpret it, walk through with PowerPoint presentations or discussions, it's always helpful to me, a non-finance related guy.
Very
And I-
good. Go ahead, Mr. Shutt.
Well, I was going to say, and I agree, Mr. Ryder, there is definitely a lot of information in there. In my opinion, I think that paragraph really sums up the results of our financial operations for the 2021 fiscal year. And I do have some specifics. There's a sheet that this fed off of that I typically prepare and forward to the board. I'll actually be including that sheet in my weekly reports to the board this week. So you can really drive into all the specific details in terms of all the major categories of expenditures and also revenues that were either greater or less than what was budgeted for the 2021 fiscal year.
Good, thanks, Paul.
You're welcome.
Are there any other questions on section F? No? We have a vote, Bonnie?
Okay. Mrs. Delaney?
Aye.
Mrs. McBride? Aye. Ms. Mungo?
Aye.
Dr. Singh?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
Mrs. Warning?
Aye.
Mr. Boba?
Aye.
And Mrs. Cerrucci?
Aye.
Motion.
And the ayes have it. Right, we have nothing on section G for resolutions presented by board members. So we can now move on to comments from residents on non-agenda items. And we had Mr. Patel. Mr. Patel? Yes, sir?
Just sign it in as a coming.
Oh, you thought you signed in. I got you. I do the same thing every time. Then we're going to move to Mr. Fred Carlson, who's got comments or questions about the open board seat.
Thank you for your time tonight, and welcome to the new board. My name is Fred Carlson. I'm a voter in 2-1 on Monticello Drive. The last time I spoke to the board was in May. I'm here tonight to to emphasize the fact that the people of the Gateway School District in Pitcairn and Monroeville have spoken. Dr. Gary DiLorenzo finished a mere 47 votes behind Mr. Singh for the final slot in the school board race, concluded only 35 days ago. From the approximately 5,600 voters who showed up in person and by mail, casting over 20,600 votes, Dr. DiLorenzo's total shortfall for the final slot was a mere 1/5 of 1% of the total votes cast. Gary received the most votes on election day of any of the 6 finalists, 2,400. From what I've been told, and it was repeated tonight, the law gives Jim LeMayo 10 days to reconsider his apparent resignation from the school board before he is sworn in. What I would like to suggest to the school board this evening, until they take the process on of appointing a replacement for Mr. LeMayo, would be to let the community results speak on behalf of Dr. DiLorenzo's desire to serve on the Gateway School Board. From an optics standpoint, this would remove any political manipulation from future proceedings, and the community voting must speak to this vacancy if it becomes a legal vacancy. This board 3 months ago had the privilege of adding Mr. Bova to their ranks as Mr. Gallagher's vacancy required filling. Consider that a job well done, as that vote was almost unanimous. At this time, I would appeal to a sense of community interest and urge the Gateway School Board to take a quick action when you get the time to work on this issue and hit the ground running in 2022 by appointing Dr. DiLorenzo to the possible vacancy. The work has been done for you by the vote of the people. We need to honor the voters of Monroeville and Pitcairn and respect the community election figures. If you read Gary's letter to the Times Express a couple weeks ago, you'll find his sentiments in the wake of such a close loss. Going against him could have yielded something vindictiveness, but instead you heard from a serving heart who pledged to continue to be involved in the education community. This possibility would be real if the board acts expeditiously after the 10-day waiting period ends. I had to gather signatures and notary seals, as everybody here is used to, these Cycle 6 finance reports. It's no secret I worked with both Leslie and Gary as their finance directors in the last campaign, and I find Gary to be upbeat and eager to stay involved. We, of course, wish Mr. LeMayo the best. I assure this board that naming Gary would bring honor and excellence to the school board. Finally, regarding qualifications, Dr. DiLorenzo's resume speaks for itself, and his skill sets would benefit Gateway School District greatly. In his 15-year career at the CalU Computer Information Systems Program and Business Departments, Dr. DiLorenzo's duties routinely dealt with quantitative data analysis, group education assessment, and all manner of communication technology and messaging platforms. He managed other educators and students in his complex role as chair. Until recently, Gary served 10 years on the MMA with 4 years as chair. I ask you to please review closely his qualifications. Gary would require no coaching or ramping up time to be of strategic value to this board. If named by this board, he will hit the ground running and benefit an already strong district, adding to the luster of our regional and state rankings. His professionalism and sense of service is first class. I thank you for your time this evening, and I've asked Bonnie to distribute hard copies of this statement for the board and other interested parties. And thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Carlson. Just a quick comment on the filling of this position. We are in a strange situation where this board has filled vacancies now multiple times in the last couple of years. And most people who have been paying attention understand that there's not much in the way of firm directives as to how the board fills the seat. So the difference, as you point out, is we just had an election that took place a matter of days ago. So the board, if indeed the time comes to fill this position, will decide whether it's going to essentially look at large in the community to fill the spot or consider the most recent election as the thing. But we will do that in a transparent, direct, and expeditious, as you say, way to do what's best for the community, like the board always does. So thank you, and anyone has anything to add, please do. All right, thank you, Mr. Carlson. Did anyone want to speak on non-agenda items who did not sign up? Yes, ma'am.
My name's Jeanette. What's that here? Okay, my name's Jeanette Beagle. I'm a Monroeville resident. I have 3 children in the Gateway School District. First, I want to thank our new board members coming to the board, our re-elected board members. Welcome. Our new president, our new vice president, welcome. Wish you all well. Ask of the board that we try to be a little more transparent, less agitating towards one another so that the community can once again trust that you guys are working in the best interest of us and not animosity between you. I ask of that. My other question is, a couple weeks ago, we got a letter from Mosside Middle School pertaining to the exorbitant amount of fights that were happening. Some had gotten worse than people would like to see within the buses. I emailed the principals asking for clarification on what a dean of students is. Is this an administrative position? Is this a teacher we're asking to fill in this role? And I have failed yet to hear what that was. I asked what closed periods were. I did not get anything from that. My children's understanding is they are not to use the bathroom, not allowed to leave the room during periods. They now have a hall pass that they're allowed to use 15 times from what they're understanding in a 9-week period. So I said, well, what if you have to go to the bathroom? Well, I'm only allowed 15 times. Okay, that's 1.6 times a week. So I would ask people to think when you're in your normal work day, school is my children's job. How many times do you go to the bathroom in a week? I'm pretty sure it's more than 1.6 times. So we need to look at that. I'd like to know what is being brought into the building as far as resources for these children that are habitually getting into fights, what resources we're bringing in for these students that are involved in the fights. My best friend's son was on a bus and literally hands were around his throat. That's traumatic. What are we doing for these kids to make sure that they feel safe in the building? I have a 6th grader that at least twice a week asks me to put him back into cyber school because he worries about, when am I going to be the one caught in the fight? When am I going to be the one? What's it going to happen? That he's nervous. That's not a good learning environment. You don't learn well when you're constantly on guard. So what are we doing to make this a better learning environment for our students? And we as parents, what can we do to help facilitate this better for you? Because I feel like we're not getting the information we need to help our students and to help you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, before, I'm going to pass this off to Dr. Short for details, but before I do, it's easy to say the obvious, which is there's no acceptable amount of violence or fights on buses or in hallways or in the cafeteria. If there were a simple, reliable way of making that happen, it would have been done already. If there are any resources left for us to find, we're going to find them. If there's any efforts we haven't made to solve this problem, we're going to make them. If we can't make our school safe, then the rest of it is pretty much immaterial. By and large, this school is as safe as any school like this. The statistics all back that up. We're going to do better. And if we don't, someone else will be sitting up here in a couple of years. So Dr. Short's going to explain how we've been doing it and how we plan to change going forward, understanding that we're not nearly done with finding solutions.
Thank you, Mr. Bova. Mrs. Beagle, thank you for the comments. First and foremost, it's important to understand that this is not just a Gateway School District issue, Mosside Middle School. If you analyze what's going on throughout our country as we come out of COVID, this has been an ongoing pandemic, not only in terms of the virus itself, but acclimating our students to the classroom again, to the norms that they have been accustomed to, entering classrooms year after year after year, with teachers, providing them the information they need to learn in a safe and secure environment. All of that has changed as we come out of COVID. We're dealing with it along with every other school district, not only in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, but throughout the country. And all you have to do is just read the information that's out there. Now, in terms of what we're doing as a district, we're being proactive. As soon as we analyzed the data and saw an escalation in antagonistic behavior, things going on in the schools that, quite frankly, we haven't seen before, we quickly looked at the data and implemented new systems to ensure that we can hold ourselves accountable, our kids accountable, but more importantly, communicate to our families that what we're seeing is not acceptable and not advantageous to learning. And again, we're coming out of the pandemic, teachers, principals, administrators, school board members, we're still wearing these masks. Kids are having a difficult time adjusting. It's not uncommon. But I can assure you, as what Mr. Bova stated here, we are utilizing our resources accordingly, especially some of the pandemic funds, social emotional learning. We've had professional development. I know Mr. Sample is here. He can attest to all that. We've had meetings within the building. We've indicated a hall pass system needed to be adjusted in order to track individuals on where they're going. Hallway behavior needed to be addressed. Kids need to be taught how to interact with one another, how to adjust socially. Again, some students who move from a fourth grade level in 2 years have not seen a physical classroom interacting with children. And all of a sudden they're moved into that hallway, into that classroom. 2 critical years, middle school, of adjusting. All of those are important to understand. We're not making excuses, but we're dealing with facts. And what we do moving forward is the important piece to ensure that our kids get the help that they need. Not only to learn, but to adjust socially. Dr. Chakey has been in point contact with Mr. Jack and the administrative team at Mosside Middle School. We've thrown out the idea of a dean of students. Again, that needs board approval to do so. We have not even met with this board because they have not been sworn in yet. More information will be forthcoming. But understand, we acted proactively to make adjustments, and we've seen some positives over the last several weeks. And I know Mr. Sample is shaking his head right now. So it is a work in progress, and we will do whatever we can to assist our children. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Short. Anyone else? I think someone moved down.
Yes, Rose Reed, Monroeville. When I came here tonight, I was surprised not to see Mr. LeMay, and I didn't know anything about it. But I just want to piggyback on what Mr. Carlson said. We voted. So I'm asking that you do the right thing. And if Mr. LeMay doesn't decide to take his oath, then I'm saying you're not going to get a better candidate than Mr. Gary DiLorenzo. And I just hope, like I said, we voted. I just hope you do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, sure. Step up to the microphone.
Kelly Matrazo. Speaking of the bathroom break issue, just keep in mind that we've got middle school preteen and teenage girls. They need more time in the bathroom. So I just wanted to point that out to everybody. So when you're thinking about doing, hall passes for bathroom breaks and things like that, please consider our preteen girls that need a little bit more time sometimes.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Hello, Lois Drumheller.
Live in Monroeville. I have, shame on me for not knowing more about the budget for your police. I understand even from tonight's news that Penn Hills doesn't have enough drivers of school buses. And in your budgetary items, I'm going to do some homework on that to see whether or not there is anything that you have in way of portioning somebody, not a policeman, but somebody who would be an LTA licensed social worker, or to supplement or to even out what you've already expended to take care of a problem. And I'm not sure what school systems can do or, districts can do between helping one another, but Penn Hills is relatively close. They have a problem, and when kids are not guaranteed whether they'll be picked up by the bus, that's an issue. That's an opportunity also. And that opportunity would be well served to try to do something between Gateway and Penn Hills if that indeed could be done legally. So a couple of things to think about, and if there's a budgetary way of doing it to try to help what has been a traumatic 2 years and to try to reacclimate the children in their environment, it's going to take maybe more than police or a supplement to the police budget. Okay.
And it's interesting, I happened to see an article on the news about Plum Borough School District as well.
Oh, also Plum.
Yes,
Yeah,
same
interesting.
situation where they've advised their parents that they may contact certain bus routes and say the bus driver's not here today. They have to provide their own transportation. So
That's a
it's
tough one.
everywhere.
That's a tough.
Yes.
tough thing. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I tried really hard, honestly, Cheryl Boyce from Monroeville, not to say anything, but never happened. I just read an article which I thought was interesting, talking about problems and COVID and the monies we were talking about, which I will go on and look at, that we got federally funded monies to use to deal with the issues that are surrounding COVID. But the article I read was about, someone sent it to me, was about something I hadn't thought a lot about with school districts, but it's subcontracting. Instead of hiring people to help in this very weird time we're in, and it's not up, or we're still dealing with COVID, their districts are starting to subcontract psychologists. They're subcontracting social workers. And I know we have agencies where we can subcontract or get substitute teachers in here. But I guess I'm throwing that out there because as I'm reading this, I'm thinking that's a solution, because you don't want to hire someone, have to pay benefits, go into that whole scenario to find out maybe at some point this all settles down. Maybe at some point life gets back to normal. But in the interim, with the school districts, and the school districts that they were referencing were smaller than Gateway. And they probably don't have the resources that we have, but still, it causes you to look at, is that an option? Is that an option when you're talking about violence and getting kids transitioned back? Because you're right, realizing that some of the kids, like second graders, think about it. This is their first time really being back in school. They missed kindergarten, missed first grade. Now all of a sudden, there they are. They're going to this big school every day for the first time since when. So I just want to throw that out there as something to think about, because having thought about that, I thought, well, that's a way to address this problem. You subcontract for a year, 2 years, while you're going through these crisis situations. And then you can roll that all back instead of hiring people permanently and then having to worry about that, because I know that doesn't work in school districts. So just to throw that out there, but let you know what some of the districts are doing, I think it's worth a thought. If you haven't already looked at that, I thought that was an interesting solution to the situation. So, but thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Last call. Unless there's more people. Nope. All right. We're going to move on to our superintendent's report.
like to welcome our new board members. Congratulations. Also our president, vice president. Look forward to working with you. Also on December 16th at 6 o'clock right here in the LGI, we will be having our PA Future Ready Index overview. It's an examination, a look at our standards line system and how we operate in the Gateway School District. Also providing some, excuse me, valuable data and information that is available for our entire communities in Monroeville and Picayune to view the work that we have done over the last couple of years here at Gateway. So look forward to seeing everybody here on the 16th. That's all I have. Right here.
Right here.
What time is that?
7. 7?
6.
6 on
6
the
p.m.
16th.
Got it.
So Mr. Bova's advice on 6 p.m. start.
We'll be discussing that. We won't waste a lot of time to get that figured out. Anything else, sir?
That's it.
Excellent. So now we do board committee reports. We don't actually have committees yet, but this is a good opportunity to take a quick lap around the room. People want to introduce themselves, say hi, tell the community what they plan on doing. This is a good chance. So Ms. McBride, you want to go first? Or not, whichever you prefer.
I'm Leslie McBride. I just want to help continue to move forward in a positive way and work with everybody to do that.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Mungo.
Hi, my name is Robin Mungo. First, I don't know if anyone remembers Aileen Boyer, who was a school board director many, many years ago. She passed away. So keep her family in prayer. I remember her when I was very young in the school district and performed at Ramsey when they had first opened Ramsey. That was a long time ago.
1970.
Yeah. I just wanted you to know that she had passed away and to keep her family in prayer.
What is her name again?
Aileen Boyer.
We're a former school board member here at Gateway.
Yes.
Advocate for children and longtime Monroeville resident.
Thank you, ma'am. Dr. Singh.
I'm Mandal Singh. I am delighted to be among you all, and I will bring my perspective from my science background, and let's see if it helps. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think just your voice calms the whole room down, so I think that's a
Yeah.
good start.
Say it again.
Your voice calms the whole room
Oh.
down, so that's a good start.
Good compliment. Thank you.
Ms. Sarucci.
Just welcome again to the new school board members. And I think some of us have had some conversations that new year, new board, new tone, positive energy, unity in the community is our goal. Unity among the school board is our goal. And I think that we have positive things in store, and I'm looking forward to a new year and new beginnings. So welcome again.
Thank you.
This mask. I too want to welcome all the new school board members and the resuming school board member. We're looking forward to and excited working with you in the coming year, and especially all of us, we're going to work very hard. We want to see a board that is without contention. Sure, we may agree to disagree on many things, but at the end of the day, we know we have one focus, and that's the students of the Gateway School District, the residents as well, but the students. We want to see what's best for all our students. And something else I wanted to mention, since Mr. Bova did mention today about December 7th, 1941, some of the heroes. One of the heroes that I wanted to mention was during that time period, who was Dory Miller, who was on Pearl Harbor, and under intense enemy fire, Miller mounted a machine gun and began firing on Japanese planes. His unselfish heroics were praised by his superiors when they put petitioned the War Department to award Miller with one of many Navy's highest honors. And he was awarded on May 27th, 1942. Although he was an African-American, he still fought very, very courageously for this country. I know many of you have relatives. My deceased husband, who did pass on this day 4 years ago, but he also was a World War II veteran, along with my father and many others who may not have been in Pearl Harbor, but have done everything and still with our existing military to keep us free. And that's something that we never want to forget, our heroes during that time.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Ritter.
Sure, a couple things. Quick update on the Gateway Middle School renovation. Dr. Short, you can chip into if you want, but some of the notes that I spotted on the board docs update was that there's a scheduled meeting, a scheduled walkthrough for the new board members. It's going to be coming up quite soon, so they can get to see the work in progress. Also, there's a new retaining wall that's going to be added on the Route 48 side of things. And some additions are going to be put onto the new wings they're going to shoot at, and some building blocks are going to be put up where the old front part of the building was there. So work continues to go on, even though it's beginning to get a bit cold. Anything else you wanted to chip in on an update from that? And how's Mr. Brown doing?
I was doing well. I'm waiting to hear from him tomorrow morning, so he'll be ready to go very soon.
Okay, number 2, the curriculum staff continue to meet and seek alternatives to traditional tutoring. The elementary and secondary social emotional learning teams continue to meet. Professional development for the staff continues to be offered. For example, essential early learning, literacy, skills, and training. So Dr. Russ, anything you wanted to add on the updates regarding?
Tutoring, we're still looking for alternatives to traditional tutoring. Virtual tutoring. The SEL team, I can tell you, still working very hard, and to complement all the work that they're continuing to do. They're doing a phenomenal job with it. And the early literacy initiatives you mentioned are occurring across all 4 elementary buildings, and they're working hard as well.
Very good. Thank you, Dr. Russi. And Bonnie, do we still have enough bus drivers? Do we need some more? What do we do about that?
Our bus company, STA, has done a fabulous job of keeping up with the daily runs. They do have their share of problems, as well as every other school district surrounding us, but they have been very creative, and I commend them for what they have done to keep the daily operations going.
Very good. Thank you very kindly. Now, another item here, a resident is working to generate and polish some small collection of ideas, probably at least 30 ideas that might be able to help. She can offer as fodder to help ameliorate some of the challenges and take advantage of some of the opportunities that have arisen in our district. Currently, there's somewhere between 10 and 30 ideas that she and I just bounced off each other, and she's collecting input from other members of the community as well. So from a community perspective, they're doing their level best to try to help out anywhere that they can. So thank you to that resident who's leading that effort. Number 4 or 5, the PIAA, Pennsylvania Interscholastic Athletic League, just updated our classification. We're going to get to remain a 5A school for our athletics next year. So there we go. Next, the district enrollment numbers have been updated. Kindergarten enrollment has spiked to 283 students. In addition, the municipality of Monroeville has informed the superintendent's office of various construction-related projects that will add some more housing to the Monroeville-Pitcairn area. Dr. Short intends to hold a buildings and ground meeting sometime soon to discuss the options moving forward. So thank you, Dr. Short, for that upcoming buildings and grounds meeting. Next, I was the leader of the Intergovernmental Meeting. The liaison to that, we haven't had meetings for a long time. We were waiting for the new board to get situated. So I'd like to ask this current board, roll around in your mind what might constitute some good agenda items for the intergovernmental meeting. So that would be between the school district, Pitcairn, and Monroeville. So we'll try to hold that sometime in, I don't know, January, February, when we can get everybody together. Next, required training for the newly elected board members, 5 hours, returning members, 3 hours. The district's staff will also offer their traditional orientation to the business operations, the other operations of the school, likely in a short while. And we also have the possibility to ask the PSBA, Pennsylvania School Board experts, to tailor some training for us so that we might be able to serve better as board members. So that's, and all the last one, Jeanette, if you would like to say something about the need for blood. I donated a couple of days ago and they called me again and said, Mr. Ritter, we like your blood. A gallon out of each arm is clearly not enough. And so I said, what can I do to help? She said, we could get some information to you. And I went out to the Pittsburgh downtown. They didn't have the office staff there, so I couldn't get some information, but I know Jeanette is a nurse and she knows a little bit better about the need for blood during this vital Christmas season.
Month of December, January is always very hard for blood collections because I worked for the blood bank for many years. A huge part of the donations come from high school students, that first time donors. They don't have as many blood drives. People still get injured. People still have heart attacks. People still are in car accidents. Horrific things happen. People are still battling cancer. Local blood bank here in Monroeville. Call, get an appointment. It's an hour of time. And we always said, an hour of your time has the potential to save 3 lives. Unit of whole blood saves 3 lives. They need platelet donors, plasma donors, red cell donors. So any help, do something good. It's something you can do freely to help others.
So the primary need that they told me was a need for platelets right now.
Platelets are always in
Got some
need.
platelets, bring them.
Platelets, absolutely.
That's all I got. Thanks.
Thank you.
Contact Jeanette.
There's Vitalent. It used to be the old Central Blood Bank that is right in Monroeville, and I'm not sure if the Red Cross still has a donation facility here, but Vitalent and the American Red Cross both do blood donations. Both of them have email addresses. You can register to donate online, go to one of their locations, find somewhere close to where you live, where you work. They are literally all over the place.
If you go to the American Red Cross website, you can sign up and they will show you locations within so many miles radius from your home. A lot of times there are churches and fire halls in the area where they donate. And they do have a handy little blood donor app you can download and do the same thing. Because I do donate my blood regularly through the American Red Cross.
Thank you, Mrs. Cerrucci. Thank you, John. I just have a couple of things I'd like to add. I'd like to thank the board for showing their confidence and giving me this opportunity to preside over this group. I was thinking about what took place last year, both in this school district and in America. You probably read lots of articles about school board meetings becoming a new battleground as people fought about masks and CRT and other things that had them infuriated. And I'd like to remind everybody, this is not a battleground. December 7, 1941, that's what a battleground looks like. This is an opportunity for us to share our ideas, to disagree, to agree, to advance this school district. But this is not a battleground. If you come here, all you're interested in doing is expressing your viewpoint, getting yourself heard, wonderful. You can do it here. You can do it through email. There's a number of venues. If you want to come here to throw fuel on a fire, I mean, it's your prerogative, but it's not going to help anything. So I fully anticipate a school year without quite the rancor we've had in the past. But that's up to all of us. This world's the one we make every day. 2 other quick things. You might have read Aliquippa won its 18th WPIAL championship this past weekend football, which is remarkable, and not my point. There's nothing remarkable about Aliquippa and its production of football players. What Aliquippa has is a culture of football. People care about football. They produce remarkable football players. I'd like Gateway to have a culture of learning. I'd like Gateway not to be a place where, I've heard a couple of employees say they wouldn't want to send their kid to Gateway now. We're the ones who make Gateway. We have to fix that. Gateway should be a destination. It's a gateway. It's the actual name. It's a gateway. It's a gateway for kids to their future. So, if we're not committed to making this the destination, education destination of choice, we all ought to rethink what we're doing here. So that's my goal for the next 2 years while I'm up here. Someone wants to come along and help, fine, bring your ideas, bring your energy, and we'll get us there. And that's all I have. So do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
What about Valerie?
Oh, geez, Valerie, oh my God, forgive me. Valerie, I'm so sorry.
That's okay, Jack. I know.
Valerie, you close the meeting. Excellent.
That's fine. I just want to welcome our new board members. Wishing you the best of luck. Like I said, it's a very worthwhile job. I mean, as long as you're here for the right reasons, which I hopefully everyone is, and just wishing everybody a good holiday. And one other thing, we do have one of our rivals that are going to the championship this week down in Hershey. And there's several of our teachers, and I just want to wish Penn Trafford the best of luck in the playoffs and the championship game. Mr. Ruane, Mr. Minicha, Mr. Ruby, Mr. Schmidt, Mr. Pugliano. Just wishing you guys all the best with your team, and see you next year. Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Warning. All right, now do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you all.